You can see it's broken down into a detailed analysis of Rye-Town itself. This would all be led by the consultant, looking at the financial estimate of the cost benefits, identifying the necessary activities and processes to dissolve the town, including what public participation activities, processes or events if it's an election, looking at the alternatives for the disposition of the town functions, the town assets, the town liabilities if there are any, how to deal with the situations at Crawford and Rye-Town Park, how to deal with the gap in the services, the tax assessment and the tax collection functions. They're not going away. We would need to continue to do it, most likely in some sort of a shared service model, similar to the way we do it now. And then any gaps in the law similar to that, and what we need to do there.
Philip, the project work plan you have here, it has estimated budget amounts. How were those arrived at?
They were using, what I did is I spoke to the folks at the local government efficiency office in Albany, and I asked them for sample projects and interpolated the results frankly. Most of the studies that were done in dealing with the dissolution of a level of government are dealing with a government entity that has shared services. So the scale of the numbers were a bit larger, quite frankly. When you looked at, between interpolating the Village of Mamaronek's recent experience, it was a $25,000 study.
This is a two-part question, actually.
Yeah.
And so one is, I want to assure myself that no consultant will put these numbers in.
No.
So,
no, the order of magnitude estimates based on work plans that we reviewed from prior studies that were done.
Okay. And so we have a reasonable assurance that this is what the study will cost?
We think so.
In additional cost, or that's
No, the cost is for the consultant pretty much. If you look at the budget that's like up front, there are three aspects of the cost. One is supplies, which is de minimis. The other is, and that includes like advertising. There may be travel expenses depending on where the consultant's from, but the bulk of it, $60,000, I think it is $63,000, is for the actual consultant fees. And they would provide a status report pursuant to the grant, in addition to, every time they bill. And that's part of what we have to do to get the grant. And the grant is paid in arrears, so if you don't play by the rules, we don't get the money. Yeah, so, Councilman Villanova's question about how do we know we're going to stay on the course, he said that the course involves public participation, and really this is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So if the people speak, then really it's incumbent on us, each of us as electeds, to act on the will of the people.
Wonderful. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I'm still not clear, Mayor. Who selects the consultant? I understand you're forming
The steering committee.
The steering committee.
And
That's what's suggested here.
And this board is comfortable then conveying that authority to the steering committee?
Well, we're going to be on the steering committee.
We'll have a member on the steering committee, but I'm assuming you'll only have, is it fair to say they'll only have one representative on the steering committee?
No, I actually, we've not gotten in that level of detail, but I would think at least, Mr. Nono, that we would have at least one elected and one professional staff member. For instance, undertake a study like this, I think it would be important, essential actually, I'll rephrase it, to have somebody like the village manager of Village of Portchester, so that we can get the objectivity in terms of the reality of what's going on that we need.
Well, obviously the key is who the consultant is. The other issue I just wanted, from a legal standpoint, towns and counties are created by the state legislature, so actually...
Well, sorry, just in terms of
only the state legislature can
sorry,
resolve
just
that.
can I, before you go to your second question, the first, the steering committee, my view is the town of Rye has a central role in this, obviously. And so I fully expect we'll have a central role in the steering committee. And I would be shocked if the steering committee decided to go with somebody that the town of Rye fundamentally opposed. And that would be made clear. Now, I'm very confident we'll find somebody that everybody agrees with. But I would be shocked if they, started a study with somebody that the town of Rye fundamentally opposes.
Yeah, I think the second comment is just that the state legislature only the state legislature can abolish a town or a county government. Villages can be dissolved by popular vote. And there is, as the mayor pointed out, there is a procedure. You'd have to go, through the county to the state asking for a dissolution, and ultimately the state legislature and the governor would make that decision. I don't think a town has been dissolved. The only was a village up in upstate New York has recently been dissolved. It was a very small village.
So we're gonna be making history.
Well, if it's economical to do.
Yeah.
As you know, I mean, just the history for those of you, I should say welcome to Mamaroneck, because we were in Mamaroneck.
Yeah.
The village of Mamaroneck in the 70s had three consecutive each year referenda to become coterminous town village, and it was to become the village of Mamaroneck Harbor. And each time the referendum was defeated, primarily by the voters in the unincorporated area of the town of Mamaroneck, because the assessable loss would have been, the Mamaroneck village has a very large industrial area, so the town, people voting in their own self-interest, rejected that referenda because they would have lost a big chunk of assessables. The unincorporated area of the town of Mamaroneck is primarily residential, with a small commercial strip. So Mamaroneck Village has a lot of familiarity with this, and as you know, in 2007, mostly in reaction to the revow, they contemplated, and they had a Pace McKellian study, again looking at becoming either coterminous or annexing to the town of Rhinebeck. Ironically, the town of Mamaroneck doesn't want Rhinebeck, and it turned out from the study that it would not be in Rhinebeck's interest economically. Taxes would be higher if they were next to the town of Mamaroneck than if they stayed in the town of Rye. So there is some history here, as the mayor, I'm sure, is well aware, and I think it'll be a very illuminating study, to say the least. I mean, I'm sure we'll learn a lot about how services are provided. So.
And you know, the reality is the economics are one thing, the political palatability is the other. And even if it did make economic sense, and like for instance in the McKellian study, in the case of Rhinebeck, the numbers are interesting when you talk about it, right? They said, oh, Rhinebeck person's taxes, town taxes go up by 40%, but it's really $40, right? And if Mamaroneck, and I mean no disrespect to anybody in the village of Mamaroneck or Rhinebeck certainly, but because the state, this is a process that needs to be consummated at the state level. You know, just think of our state assemblymen and our state senators, right? We each have State Senator Oppenheimer and Assemblyman Latimer. And I know we worked with them both on the library issue between Rybrook and Portchester. And, you know, they said, listen, we'll do anything you want so long as you all agree. So really, step one is to get the facts objective and unbiased, and have them in a way that's palatable for everybody to agree. And this is, you know, the first step towards that. It's an incremental approach, and I think it could lead to other studies, other analysis, and you know, I think it has a real chance, if there is economic merit to this, to effectuate change in the right history.
Any other questions from Mayor Pillow? Can I get a motion to approve our participation in this grant proposal?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Hope, call the roll.
Vodka, Gelfar, Bendicino, Nyars, Villanova.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Well, and Mayor Pillow, I want to thank you so much for coming this evening. And Mayor Pillow really was the principal author, in fact, the author for the grant proposal. So thanks so much for your hard work.
It's great work, and it's a pleasure to work. I'm looking forward to working with you guys, actually. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks, Mayor Pillow. Thanks very much.
Joe, this is the second you've done
Oh, you did. Okay, beautiful. Thanks very much. Now, I understand there's someone here from the Census Bureau this evening who also has to leave. Can we? Would you be so kind to come up, please? Thanks so much. Just introduce yourself.
I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Mayor.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chester Dominguez. I'm a partnership specialist with the Census Bureau. I'm here basically, well, it's an exciting time for us in our nation. We're taking a snapshot of all of the entire nation, and we're counting the people. I know that at this point in our census quest, that you know by now how important it is for us to get an accurate count, especially in the Portchester, Rye, and in this area, in Westchester County. As you know, every year $4 billion in federal funds is distributed based on census data that has been provided from the different communities. My job has been for the last year and a half to go to the communities, educate the people, give them an idea and an opportunity to ask questions about the Census Bureau, about what's happening, about why it's important, and to really explain how safe it is, and that this year it's a lot easier than it's been in the past. We only have 10 questions, and it only takes approximately 10 minutes to answer these questions.